Click the links to join the channel here over at SubScribeStar. So Destiny is a weirdo, but the people who have a parasocial relationship with him are even weirder. I hate to imagine what they look like, because they're coming in all these comment sections and defending him, or not really defending him. They're just attacking anyone who points out what he's been up to. So the engagement farming and karma. Destiny is laughing at the firefighter, the grandfather who was a victim at the Trump rally. If you're looking at the screen, he's saying things that you would think were engagement farming, but they're too reprehensible, and it's like this is going to hurt him in terms of advertising and things like that. And he's saying things that are way over the top. It doesn't make sense until you start to actually listen to him on live streams, and you'll start to put it together. He's not an interesting guy. He's kind of a political pundit, but he's a midwit, and I don't think there's anyone who would say that he's anything more than that. But he has a lot of those "what is Aleppo" moments, if you remember, and he's got to look everything up on his cell phone when he's discussing anything. He doesn't have things on the top of his head, and to make the connections, he's got to he gets confused a lot, and it's like, well, you're a political pundit, right? So a lot of these things you're confused on are kind of basics 101. The only thing interesting about him is how he's got an audience, and I've heard him a few times on various live streams, but he doesn't come across as anything other than someone who understands only the broad outlines of politics, domestic and global. But he's really whiny. And here's the thing: physiognomy is real. The left wing has a lot of mental illness on their side, and most of their male energy. Honestly, there should be studies on this, but there can't be, because the universities are completely captured by these same kind of people on what makes the physiognomy is real concept. What makes a left wing soy boy? You just can't. Universities are, like, if you're not there for a science, it's just totally worthless. So the male energy in these angry soy boys, a lot of it seems to be out of an 80s Hollywood type of, strawman universe, where they're picked last for sports, and there's just this brutal beta energy about them, the stab you in the back energy. So I was listening to him on a Twitter space, and he's just whining, laughing at the firefighter who was murdered at the Trump rally. And he sounds like a sociopath. And even the people who were on the live stream with him, I think, were surprised at how bloodthirsty he was, and how, like, he was saying things that would eventually would come back to him to affect companies that advertise with him. And he didn't seem to be in control of himself. And some people said, "Well, he's just engagement farming." I think it's more than that. I think some of the energy sounds kind of like a stimulant mixed with mental illness. He just didn't sound like he was playing with a full deck, but that the remaining cards were busy chopping lines. But the thing with this left wing male energy is Destiny is the perfect example of, physiognomy is just brutally real. These guys are the midwit, useful idiots of the puppet masters, I think he kind of feels like he's the smartest guy in the room that he's in, because you're in an echo chamber with people who are all in perfect agreement with you. And listening to him now, the F word is in every other sentence, and it's nonstop ad hominems, and they've been using ad homs for so long, like this kind of Kick, YouTube, Twitch, whatever political pundit. And it's gone on beyond the point where someone can say, even someone on the left can say, "Wait a minute, you're just insulting the person. You're not attacking their argument. Like, aren't you better than this?" And they don't have a counter argument to that, because they've been doing this stuff for so long that they can't dial it back and try to pretend to be, I don't know, what the edgy atheists were back in 2015. What was that? That was the atheism was popular for about a minute in 2015. And then they got really cringy. I don't know what happened to them. Atheism plus they started going into it. It just became they wouldn't go after Jews or Muslims, I think. So it was just Christian focused. And look at them, it's like, well, Hindu is probably the biggest religion on earth, other than Islam, Hindu, but they only went after Christianity. It's like, well, you're free to do that. Everybody goes after that. You're not as cutting edge as you seem to think. These obese people in their fedoras, and I mean, some people were trolling their live streams because they'd bring up other religious practices, and it was, God, what was that show that used to be on YouTube? The Quran Unlimited or the Bible Unpacked or something, but they did both the Bible and the Quran. And it was like 10 years ago. And I went back and I listened to a few of those Quran ones, Unloaded or something, or Reloaded or something like that. One of those dudes actually came out of the closet recently. Kind of interesting. But that kind of YouTube, that was 10 years ago. You'd never be able to do that again. Like going through passages in the Quran and doing skits and laughing at them. There was an entirely different YouTube, believe it or not, at one time. YouTube used to be cool, dude. Now they don't even skate. So he does. Oh, they also a lot of these left-wing commenters do the Valley Girl kind of ebonics. I don't know what you call it, the upspeak and the presumption that they're dealing with absolute idiots, which is funny because, like I said, they're midwits, and I don't think there's anyone who would say like, oh no, this is actually a great intellectual. And then he does this safe. Oh God, I hope these comments are cool. He does this safe, edgy thing where he attacks people on the things that he's allowed to, where he can call them fatties because that's allowed now. The whole fat movement, which I think was also 2015. A lot of things changed suddenly. Oh, let me get to his post. A lot of things changed suddenly when Trump got into office. And that whole feminism push that was big just seemed to hit a wall. Like everything changed when he got elected. I think the left wing couldn't believe that he was actually going to get elected. So the safe, edgy thing is calling fatties, fair enough. And then he calls everyone retarded because he honestly thinks that he's some great intellect, but I honestly think that's just the marching powder speaking there. But he stops there with fatty and the R word. He won't go any further because if he speaks like most of us speak, then he'd get canceled. So racial and sexual epithets to them are verboten in his circle, so he's forced to use the F word every other sentence when he wants to call people gay, but he's actually gay himself. So I guess that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. He's really a deeply weird guy. The deal with this is he enjoys getting sodomized while watching his now ex-wife have sex with other guys and probably putting powder up his nose while guys put cream up his, So the left wing does this thing where they don't have the facts in their favor. So they swear and they use this feminine emotional energy as if they're talking to idiots, which they think they are. But when you hear their arguments, it's all kind of like high school level type of stuff. And the ad hominems are really silly because I would have expected that there would have been more people on the left who would have called out the ad hom. And their level of hubris is bizarre. But honestly, listening to him I guess he's doing a lot of live streams. He sounds like he's coked up or he's having a schizophrenic meltdown. I think it's just a combination of chemical dependency and a mental illness. And I think sometimes stimulants can release that mental illness. He's letting his true self come out. So he's really angry. It's like this incel male feminist rage, which if he wasn't popular as the voice of these soy boys I guess he was on YouTube when he got popular, then he would be that incel that he's now the champion of. And we're in this Weimar because there are millions. Oh, Jesus, this one is fucking bizarre. It says, I'd rather watch my wife get railed 10,000 times. That's got to be for his sake. And I was thinking about this with that Ezra Miller guy, the Flash guy, the actor who's so crazy. For Destiny's sake and that other guy, I was thinking like, you better be chemically dependent because you can go to rehab, you can get clean and sober. If this is really you, this is not powder, this is mental illness, I don't think you come back from this. Anyway, we're in this Weimar because there are just millions of these type of soy boys who like Destiny, and he's one who was able to rise the cream of that soy army. And these people, they think they're outcasts. They think they're in this Hollywood high school version of reality. 90210, rest in peace, Shannon Doherty. So far, 2 of the cast have passed really young, which Hollywood sold people this bullshit version about with Revenge of the Nerds narrative. Go back and watch Revenge of the Nerds 1 and 2. But watch it after you put on the They Live sunglasses. It'll blow your mind. So some of these guys, they're not picked on by the football guys or the cheerleaders like they have in their kind of head canon. they're ignored. These Destiny type soy boys are usually the assholes in most situations, and that's something that Revenge of the Nerd successfully changed the narrative of that the nerds were victims, and most people looking back their high school days, like, they were just assholes like everyone else was assholes. They were not marginalized and oppressed victims, but so many people talk in this new Frankfurt School, globalist type of hot buzzwords. It's all just buzzwords, and they use it to manipulate language by saying those marginalized and oppressed. It's like, we're the victims and we can do no wrong and we're the other. It's just nonsense. It's like, it sounds like communist nonsense. Yeah, it's been that way for 100 years. So the soy incel hood is self-imposed. Then he himself is skinny fat, where he's got a low body fat body, but then he's got a double chin. I don't know how that works. He just kind of completely out of shape and play video games and eat cookies. And then they think that they deserve the hot cheerleader because they're male feminists, which are the most dangerous people. And the Chads are actually the abusive Trump supporting assholes. But in most cases, the Chad and Stacy meme, they're just normal people who just want to ignore these weirdos. And like, these people could, these incel, these soy boy types could be their own Chad and Stacy. All they have to do is get a little bit of exercise, maybe get outside, and they just wouldn't be this kind of angry. The whole scenario is in their mind. They're these basement dwelling, out of shape, addicted to games sort of people. And they're resentful that they don't get the attention that they think they deserve. That if they were in charge, well, there'd be no sports because something about the patriarchy. Unless there was a sport they were good at, and then that would be, you get the idea. It's why I don't know if these twink types put down the games, the junk food, and they exercised and discover what a fruit and vegetables are all about. If they did all that in a year, they just wouldn't be as far left anymore, because the whole physiognomy is real thing. It turns out to be brutally true. A lot of it is, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but it's what they put out in the world is what they get back. And they're putting out this really soy beta behavior, stab you in the back kind of behavior, and they find other of these kind of guys. And I deal with these lispy people in the comment section fairly often, and they haven't really changed in the decades since I've noticed them, where they smoke pot. They're obsessed with Coomer games and Marvel and DC and movies, and they mumble to themselves about how things would be different if they were in charge. And you look at them and like, yeah, it would be the worst decision ever. And that Destiny is kind of the top of their pundit food chain is absolutely pathetic. He knows the minimum of politics, and he talks like he's trying to be a safe, edgy teenager, where everything is like, it's just logical fallacy after fallacy about appeals to authority type of nonsense. And that's the weird thing, is the left didn't always used to be like this, but he's a big guy on the left, and I'm guessing he got into some chemical issues, and so he's changing the narrative where it's just personal attacks and kind of drama farming and engagement farming type of stuff, where it's just swearing every other word and trying to be safe, edgy, instead of calling people like actual real slurs, which is something a little bit more freeing about being on the left, is we have the whole lexicon open to us. And it's no wonder that he found a partner who wanted him to watch her with other men while he got sodomized. I mean, I guess that would explain a whole lot of anger. And some people were saying that he seemed like he might do something permanent because he's kind of spiraling out of control here. Maybe, but I think most of this behavior is actually Bolivian marching powder talking, because you can watch a few of his streams or listen to his spaces on Twitter, and he's on something stronger than coffee. Anyway, the left is telling you who they are. They hate you, and they literally want you dead. And they think that if only they could kill all the normal, happy people, then maybe they could also be normal and happy, and they'd be good at sports, and they'd get the girl or the guy or whatever. When the thing is, all it would take for them to be happy would just be get clean and sober, eat less, exercise. That's really about 90% of it. So his excuse for laughing at a murdered grandfather and retired firefighter, a lot of it seems to hinge on that Trump is an insurrectionist. in his mind, which nobody believes. And nobody thinks that he was found guilty of 30 felonies. Nobody cares about that. Like even the media doesn't care about that anymore because they know there's no traction behind it. Because you look at that and you're like, oh, so it's one politician in power attacking his political opponent. Yeah, obviously that's what it is. Nobody believes that, and nobody believes it was an insurrection. That was a mostly peaceful protest where you had a few hundred unarmed people. You don't take over a country by leaving, at least all arms at home. If you had 10,000 armed people, I'd go, okay, maybe. I mean, congratulations, you took over a building for parts of a building for a few hours. I was like, what are you going to do? You don't run the country from one building. That seems to be like a childish belief. And they think, oh, well, Trump supporters are so dumb that they're not. That you're just ordinary people. And again, there wasn't 10,000 people with rifles. It was an unarmed group of peaceful protesters who were taking videos and films. They thought this was some kind of historic date. Anyway, no, he's not an insurrectionist. That's just absolutely ridiculous. But he keeps repeating that word, insurrectionist. Like, if you remember Eyes Wide Shut, the Tom Cruise character he was exposed to so many weird events over this one night. It was kind of like an Epstein. What's that grove? It's like an Epstein Island type of thing. It's like that. What's that grove in the Redwoods? Alex Jones is always talking about. I forget it. It's like they go up there and they do their own marching powder, and they have. I think it's a lot of it is LARPing, but in that scene, Tom Cruise is just having his mind blown. So he keeps saying to himself that he's a doctor because it's a way to ground himself to the real. Anyway, this guy seems like an incredibly bitter person, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because he seems healthy and wealthy. I'm not sure what else you can ask for. I don't know why he's so angry unless it's all just mental illness and he's snorting Adderall, which is I think the stimulant has a lot to do with it. And it's not, I know I'm kind of harping on this, but if you listen to a few of his spaces, I guess you'd have to listen to a couple of his old interviews where he's way more reasonable, and then you listen to the stuff now, it's like, whoa, dude, you gotta go to rehab, buddy. So even Elon Musk was looking at the things he was saying, and he went ahead, demonetized the accounts, but he's going to be fine on other platforms because he's got an army of simps who donate to him on Patreon and SubScribestar, PayPal, whatever the mainstream services are. He doesn't lose his bank accounts or payment processors because the rules are different for them. And if we said any of these kind of things, it's like, well, suddenly we're kicked off Patreon and Coffee because the rules are different for us. And unfortunately, he's influencing just the most naive kids on earth to dehumanize their political opponents, to talk about killing politicians. I said a lot of hard words in this. And Trump supporters, most of which ties back to that peaceful protest, but it was by the right wing, and the left wing was able to riot for years, but J6 was a threat to the Republic. He doesn't believe it, because, if he knows politics at all, he knows like a couple hundred unarmed people, like 50-year-olds. It's just nonsense from the get-go, and that's why the population doesn't care about it, and I think the media even stopped harping on it, because they made them lose so much credibility. But if it didn't happen, he'd just find another straw man, because ultimately he seems like a sociopath who just wants to kill anyone who disagrees with them. And so what is they had the J6 January, right? But the right wing now has July 13th, which is an assassination attempt beats peaceful unarmed protests. So it's credit for that, I guess. And I mentioned that he's got these really weird sexual habits, because it's just too weird. I understand straight and I even understand gay, but wanting to be abused while you watch your wife have sex with other men is absolutely freaking bizarre. There's something going on there. He just doesn't seem like he's playing with a full deck. So I think this goes beyond engagement farming. And when I was looking into this thing, I was looking into that, not this guy, Harry Sisson. Hunter Avalon has got a very, like, a surprisingly small Twitter account for the size of his YouTube channel, with almost no engagement on his Twitter whatsoever. So he has to do engagement farming and try to rage bait. And it's pathetic, but for these people, it's their bread and butter. They have to do this kind of stuff. And blood sports on YouTube, for some reason, YouTube doesn't like blood sports. And a lot of those people who were heavy into it got kicked off of YouTube, and I'm not really sure why. Like Andy Worski and a bunch of these other people eventually got kicked off. And oddly enough, now they're on Kick and Odyssey and Rumble and a bunch of other stuff, and I guess they're doing pretty well. It's I watched Dan Bongino. He's some kind of right-wing political pundit on Rumble for a few minutes this morning. He had 250,000 followers on Rumble, and Steven Crowder was streaming as well. I can't watch these kind of normie guys, but he had over 100,000 followers on Rumble. That is a great sign, just to see that finally people can start leaving YouTube behind. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys all on a lot of videos. Just can't go on YouTube, obviously, so they can go on. SubScribeStar is the freest so far, and Odyssey. Even Odyssey is cracking down on people. So it's I mean, like the only free speech sites are unfortunately ones that have to have monthly subscriptions, and it is what it is. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.